Once every 12 years, the Sun and Jupiter come together in the sign of Cancer, a place where Jupiter is exalted and usually on his best behavior and his A game for prosperity, wisdom, truth, expansion. And this energy is happening for all of us on the 24th or 25th of June, time zone dependent, as these two join forces in our heavens and give us a new 1 year narrative. Yes, although the Sun comes together with Jupiter on that date, it is a reset button. Jupiter is deeply invisible in the heart of the Sun. He is Cazimi, the Sun. We will not even know until mid-July the extent of what this new cosmic plan is for our lives. It will take up to 12 months to fulfill. Now, this happens every 12 years, so you've been through this Cancer exaltation, Jupiter Sun reset button before, and other dates such as 1966, 1978, 1990, 2002, and here we go, 2025. So I'm going to bring your attention to how to understand this for your sign. I want you to listen for your sun sign, being kind of relevant to your truest essence, who you really are in this game of life. Make it like your actor that plays the character. The character is your rising sign. However, the Sun can also indicate things to do with purpose and career related matters and things to do with fathers in your life, father figures, or authority figures. The rising sign is the actual avatar simulation character, and it can circumstantially indicate major areas of life change. In other words, whatever hits that ascendant or impacts that ascendant in some way will spill out to all areas of your life. And so your rising sign also is about your body and your health. And when you talk about your moon sign, you're talking about how you feel about this whole game of life, and you're talking about matters connected to mother figures, but also home, also where you live, also your domicile, also your private life. So you can listen for all three today. Now, if you're new here, welcome. My name is Lori Lothian. I'm using Western Tropical Zodiac, whole sign houses. And, I have a penchant for fixed stars and minor asteroids. We'll be bringing your attention to a couple of those today. And I will bring your attention to the fact that this is going to be a video that's really about your sign. Often I cover a lot of world astrology or mundane astrology in the front end of my video. And for this one, I'm not particularly going there. I would rather do another video all about that, because we're also looking at, on the 20th of April, 20th of June, the ingress of the Sun into Cancer. And that is its own mundane astrology video. So I'll keep the story of Jupiter, Sun, energy in Cancer for another time. So this is all about what's possible when the god of goodness, Jupiter, meets the Sun in the sky. And the Sun is like, Mission Impossible. You get your mission instructions. It's like the headquarters, the divine soul of the universe. And so Jupiter's getting mission instructions for you for the next year of your life after this happens. And you'll see evidence of that when this deeply invisible, under the Sun's beams, Jupiter finally becomes visible by mid-July, around the 16th of July. It is latitude dependent, but he will be visible. And by mid-July, many of us will begin to see the rewards of the seed planted on June the 24th, when he meets with the Sun at 3 degrees of Cancer. Now, before I go through each sign, who will be most impacted by this? Obviously, Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising people. And the closer your Sun, Moon, and Rising is to 3 degrees of Cancer, then the more strongly you might feel it. However, let's face it, the whole sign of Cancer is having a death rebirth of Jupiter in the heart of the Sun, and therefore all Cancers are definitely highly impacted, as well as anybody angular to that, which is you Capricorns and you Libras and you Aries, Sun, Moon, and Rising. You guys are all like spinning on the wheel of change with this energy and having major momentum. If you have planets or Sun, Moon, and Rising, in the first 5 or 6 degrees of Cancer, Aries, Capricorn, or Libra, those planets or your Sun, Moon, Rising, or midheaven, of course, are going to really be deeply impacted. For example, I'm an Aries Mercury at 2 degrees. My Mercury and even my Moon at 8 degrees will really feel this 3-degree conjunction. So I could think about my mind, my ideas, my writing projects, third house Mercury, my home being massively and positively impacted in the 12 months that follow. When we get to your sign, I'll be giving you those details. Now, one thing about the sky, right, as this is occurring, is Mercury is sitting there with this Jupiter, with this Sun, and therefore he's witnessing it. He's a little further along. And so there's also something to do with information or news or ideas collectively and individually that's baked into this particular version of the Sun and Jupiter combining forces. And Mercury is called mute in Cancer. So it would be very interior, very subtle realizations, mental understandings, ideas that are percolating in the whole sign Cancer part of your chart over the course of 12 months. So we're going to start off with your sign, but before you do, let us read a little bit from the Archetypal Universe by Renn Butler. I'm just going to read very bit. And before I do that, to understand the archetypes of Jupiter and Sun. But I'm also going to say that you might want to know that my Sky Reader class, which was going to be taught in mid-July, has been moved into September. It's no longer summer school. It has to do with a move I'm doing, but also an astrology book proposal and book I'm writing. And I have to do that in the summer so that I have time in the fall to teach and also produce my all signs content. So I had to delay it. But if you've been on the wait list already, in the description box, you'll see how to get on that early bird discount. You're still available for the early bird discount for my 6-week live course this fall. And my 2023 all signs videos are still half price. And if you 25 videos are still half price and you haven't seen those yet, please go ahead and grab them. $33 for 12 signs, 2 hours times 12, plus PDF guidebooks for each sign. Or you can just get your individual signs for $22. And that's really affordable for 2 hours of navigational guidance for your sign for 2025. All right. And we still have half a year left. All right, guys. Renn Butler, a friend of mine, a former teacher, Archetypal Universe teacher, Archetypal Astrology. I will be having him. I recorded an episode with him. It's on my channel. It'll be coming out in about a week after you see this video. And he does teach an amazing year-long program in Archetypal Astrology, which is completely different than Hellenistic, but really useful. So what does he have to say here? Woo! Shoot. I lost my page. Sun, Jupiter. So warm and sunny nature, dramatic flair and enthusiasm for life, outflowing zests and joy, goodwill, generosity. But on the dark side, tendencies toward arrogance, inflation, grandiosity, and self-importance, right? Jupiter blows up the authority of the sun or the solar figure, ethical blind spots, and attitudes of entitlement. And I'm a little concerned about this for the world, although I promise not to do world astrology today. And I'm a little concerned about this for the world for the simple reason the Sabian symbol that it rounds up to from 3 Cancer to 4 Cancer is a cat arguing with a key mouth. And a cat arguing with a mouse, keyword, justification. So this really goes on about manipulating and using manipulation to justify actions to create a desired outcome. So clever attempts to win approval for an action and things to do with, provocation, baiting, badgering, goading, excuses, and justifications. Well, we're in a bit of a pickle right now with a war brewing in Israel it's happening between Isreal and Iran, with other nations in the world potentially getting pulled in, particularly the United States. So if we were to see a justification or some kind of, big story, don't believe it. And the reason is that Neptune at around 1 or 2 degrees of Aries is squaring the ingress of Jupiter into Cancer, and even more importantly, this Jupiter conjunction. So the cat is tricking the mouse with conversation. Do not believe any excuses you hear for a good reason for your country to get involved in a war. As you all know, there were no WMDs in Iraq, and I knew that before you guys did because I had friends in the intelligence community. When Tulsi Gabbard says that there was no evidence of a nuclear weapon being built or even nearly built on intelligence data, and told it to the public, you got to believe it. Back when the non-WMD's reason for going into Iraq was going on in the United States, my intelligence friends were unable to tell the press. They were forbidden to tell the truth. Now, shall we get going with your sign? I think so. We're going to start with Aries, and I don't know if I should do this for you guys. I don't know if you have the bandwidth for what I'd like to do. It depends on how deep you are in astrology. But you know how I mentioned like my Mercury is at 2 degrees of Aries, and it's getting really saturated by this conjunction? Because even though this happens every 12 years, and it's always the same time of year, June of to June of the next year, 1 year story, such as June of 1978 to 79, June of 78 to 78, 78 to 79, June of 1990 to 1991, and on we go, roughly June of 2002 to 2003. It's not always at the same degree. And the reason I'm talking about that degree, not just the Sabian symbol, but if you have a planet between 0 and 6 degrees of any sign, especially angular, especially in the cardinal signs, which are Aries and Libra, Capricorn and Cancer, that planet becomes highly activated, detonated, whatever you want to call it. It's the center of a blast radius. It becomes cooperative. It becomes engaged with this Sun-Jupiter conjunction. I was going to do a very tricky one with you guys to talk about how this collaterally also benefits the planet's domicile, but that's going to be a little bit more complicated, I think, than will be useful for you. So instead, what I want to do is Renn Butler has a tendency in his wonderful book, and I hope some of you might study with him. My Sky Reader is a fun, playful, how to time your best life and be your own astrologer, but you go through archetypal astrology in order to really dive deep into the archetypes of your sky and how you use a tool and maybe teach it or learn it for professional reasons. That's a year-long course, not me. So I promote him because we're in different universes of teaching. But I want to tell you that I'll put his course description link in my description box below. He still has an early bird discount, I think, or if you mention I sent you, I think you get a discount. But the archetypal university pairs planets together. So let's do it this way: Sun, Jupiter, and then Mercury. Sun, Jupiter, and then Venus. If you have this triple combination in this conjunction, so in Cancer, because your planet is within those 6 degrees, it's going to mean the following things. Let's do it that way. I think that's really fun and gives an extra flavor. Okay. So let's go ahead and talk about it. If you have this triple combination of Sun, Jupiter combining in the sky, now this is as if it would be natal, but it doesn't matter. It's the same archetype, Sun, Jupiter, and Mercury. Let's start off with that. Sun, Jupiter, Mercury. I'm looking for the triple one in here. Here we go. Those 3 planets together, Sun, Jupiter, Mercury, are indicative of energies of bright, curious mind, enthusiastic style of speaking, a positive outlook on life. So I might be doing more public speaking, right? A buoyant, optimistic, speaking style. Now, if it's in the dark side, it could be being overly dramatic, exaggerating your importance, overly self-centered or self-righteous, or being overrun by paperwork. What about if it's your moon? What if your moon is 0 to 6 degrees of Cancer and it gets smushed into this particular conjunction with the Sun and Jupiter? Of course, your moon's not there now, right? It's your birth moon. A positive and expansive nature, the moon, outpouring vitality and enthusiasm. Think about the next year of your life, guys. It's a year-long story. Feelings of abundance and satisfaction and a grand dramatic flair, the joy of living. And then on the dark side, arrogance, self-righteousness, entitlement, and habitual excesses, like your habits take over, your comfort food takes over. What about your Venus? What if your natal Venus is right mixed in a triple conjunction here between? So you have Venus like roughly 0 to 6 degrees of Cancer. A sunny and friendly nature, a warm and expansive charm, outflowing kindness and generosity. This is areas of your life where you experience this thing in your Cancer whole sign house for a whole year. Buoyant happiness and a love of life. And then the other side, dark side, shadow, the need to impress other people, Venus, the diva, to keep your attention on yourself, vanity, grand vanity, conceit, overindulgence in pleasures. Of course, Venus loves her pleasures, particularly the vices. Too many orgies is not good for the soul, What about Mars? You have a Mars 0 to 6 Cancer. You are going to have boundless, exuberant strength and vitality over the next year. You're going to be irrepressible in your passion, lots of enthusiasm, yang energy, yan energy, bold and adventurous deportment in the Cancer whole sign part of your sky, which we'll get to in a minute, right? Because it could be your 4th house of home, property, real estate or something. Centered ambition or aggression, cocky arrogance, obnoxious directness could be outcomes of the shadow side of Mars, Moon, and Jupiter energy. Saturn. Is your natal Saturn 0 to 6 degrees of Cancer, which is a Saturn in difficulty anyway? So it can be mature and steady temperament, trustworthy integrity, balance, ongoing work to curb one's inflation and excesses, or an appreciation of challenge and adversity as builders of character, Saturn. But on the darker side, contractive fear, outweighing one's impulses to grow or expand. Saturn is a fear energy. Adherence to limiting your ideological dogmas, philosophical justifications for your selfishness. Finally, what about, we don't do the outer planets. I'm not going to do the outer planets. I can't keep going. Okay. It's generational anyway. All right. Let's go ahead and talk about Aries. Then we'll move through the sky, sun, moon, and rising. Don't forget, if you are new here and you haven't hit the like button, subscribed yet, why not? Come join me on Patreon, where they get everything early access ad free, where I teach classes, where we have up to 4 Zoom meetings a month. If you enjoy a more intimate contact with me and a learning environment, Patreon's the place to go. And Substack, my Pluto Chronicles, is where you go when you want to hear me tell you what I really think is going on in the world, astrologically and personally, without fear of demonetization. So all 3 places, the Pluto Chronicles on Substack, Patreon for learning, and smaller intimate communities, are available to you. Links are in the description box below. Shall we start with Aries? I believe we should do that, because Aries always goes first. By the way, Leos out there, had one Leo person unsubscribe. Couple complain that Leos get short shrift on my videos. I don't think that's true, but I want to make you guys aware of something. The sky weights other signs more than others. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you could have one part of the sky with eclipses, with the nodes, maybe a stellium of energy going on there, a lot of planets traveling through that sign. And it ends up, I end up talking more about that sign because it's got more going on. Leo, stop complaining. Eclipses will come through your sign in a year, and you'll get all of the attention. But I have to laugh because it's Leos who love to be the center of attention that always say, Leos get way too little bit. And I'm like, no, there's not a lot going on in your sign. I always mention Mars is barreling through there, but it's just, you're not the highlight of the story every single time, Leo. Okay, let's go ahead and do Aries. Okay, so we're starting with Aries, and we're going to do about 5 minutes per sign. I'll try to keep you Leos in the loop, and we're going to go through the idea that there's a reset button, the Jupiter, the greater benefic, wisdom, truth, and knowledge, expansion, growth, and prosperity, children, abundance, all of his good things. You know, Jupiter keeps the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter from collapsing towards the sun by the sun's gravitational pull, so we don't die. So he's really a good guy in the heavens astronomically because of his gravitational pull, his giant bigness. So how does this giant bigness of Jupiter serve you over the next 12 months in areas of the part of your chart that represent Cancer? And it's good to go back if you want to see how 2002 to 2003, June to June went for you, or 1990 to 1991, or 1978 to 79. Okay, so those are the complementary past occurrences, you know, every 12 years behind us. One more thing I want to say is go ahead and do your sign. If you're coming into this premiere, don't forget to like and subscribe. This is general bell curve astrology. This is not a personal reading. Every time Jupiter and the sun do come together in Cancer once a year, it's not the same story every single time. We'll have other planets in different places, such as Saturn, Neptune in Aries squaring Jupiter as it conjoins the sun. I'll bring that up for your sign as a flavor, but I want you to know you can't always compare directly the past, and you're not getting a personal reading. I'm just giving you general astrology for your sign. Take what works and leave the rest. Okay, let's go ahead and do Aries. By the way, some of you know that I have autistic spectrum disorder, late diagnosis, high masking. And one of the things I found out about autistic people is we never sit with our feet on the ground like a prim and proper thing like this. We have a hard time with it. So true. We usually have one foot up like this. I used to get in trouble with my teachers at my desk or in restaurants. I'd go to a restaurant and get my knee up like this. It has to do with proprioception and a certain sense of spatial awareness. We're much better sitting on the floor. Given a choice to sit on the floor in any environment, like a speech or a gathering, and I could sit on a cushion on the floor. I'll be there anytime over a chair or even a sofa. So no complaints about my knee, okay? Because I can hear it right now. Some people are so weird that they have to find something wrong with every single person on YouTube. Find a better life, guys. Let's go ahead and do your sign. And I am recording this on June 16th for my Patreon community who gets this early access ad free. I am aware that the world is a hot mess with the Iran-Israel story, but I've already covered that in a video that already came out today, Monday, June 16th, on my week ahead video, and the week before, in which I predicted a flare between Iran, Israel, and involving the United States possibly as well. All that came through a week before everything popped in the sky. So astrology is highly predictive. Now, this is the Washington, D.C., June 20th solar ingress. You'll see that the sun is moving into the sign of Cancer, squaring Saturn and Neptune. This is going to be a very different energy for the world. But as Washington, D.C., as a placement, this is because in mundane astrology, you would say in the next 3 months, okay, until the fall equinox, this is the stories the United States will go through. So I'm not going to cover that here today for the simple reason that I choose to do that as a separate video. I want to keep this one more upbeat, more positive, and more catered to you and your needs. So not every video I do will I dive into the darkness of world events. All right, go to Substack to find out more about that. I just had the terrible feeling maybe I have my mic not working. I'm sorry, guys. Let me double check. That would just be so piss me off. Not that it's not working, but it's not picking up my signal. Let me go take a look. Oh my God. That means I'll sound very tinny so far. 1, 2. Oh, thank God it's on. Okay. Let's go ahead. And let's do Aries. All right, Aries. The principle here today is there's a reset button. Basically, you're going to reconnect to divine wisdom through the solar energy, but exalted in Cancer. Jupiter is superpowered here, and it's going to give you a very intense angular energy for the next year, 12 months of a story that wants to unfold in your fourth house. Now, your fourth house where Jupiter and Sun come together, and by the way, it is at 3 degrees of Cancer. It just happens to be, the chart showing you otherwise. So it is going to be at 3 degrees. If I move a day forward, it will be there on the 24th, time zone dependent, 24th, 25th. And what I want to tell you about this conjunction of these two planets is that as they co-join, they're going to reset you to start fresh, to start new, to look for abundance, prosperity, and expansion and growth and children in your home. There's a strong possibility that you could have children in your home more than normal. Therefore, a child in your home, or you might find that one of your children is pregnant and you're going to have grandchildren in the home, or for some reason you have more children in the home. Children expand in the home for some reason, and that therefore can indicate those possibilities over the next 12 months. I have 2 children. My son is trying to have a baby, and I would be a grandma. And of course, I'd have the grandchild in my home. We live in the same city. So there's an expansion of that in the home, prosperity in the home, or from the home. Now, from the home simply meaning what you're doing in the home can make you abundant, prosperous, wealthy, full of goodness and hope and optimism, teacher or guru in the home. So this is a funny one, but a Jupiter conjunction here could indicate a year in which a teacher, a spiritual guide, a guru, an educator comes to live with you, and it's going to bring some good divine energy into your home life and your private life. Jupiter blessing you here as well if you are a teacher. If you're somebody who wants to go down the rabbit hole of teaching in the home, then this is extremely powerful for you. And this is happening in 2025, but it happened in 2002 and 1990. Did you ever have a teacher in the home? Or were you prosperous and abundant in and from your home back then? Now, this can be a legacy wealth trend. I had a guru living with me, Aries sun here, guys. I really had a guru living with me the last time this conjunction happened. So, yeah. So I want you to consider another element of this. I want you to ask yourself how you can also be able to receive abundance from your parents. Now, that can be your mother more particularly, or your father, or someone up the line, a grandparent, etc., especially squaring Saturn, which can represent the elder. So abundance from an elder a parent or grandparent, a legacy wealth transfer can occur over the course of the following 12 months. Now, doesn't mean you have to worry about your parent dying, especially. I'm not saying that. I don't want you to worry. I just mean it means a transfer of wealth. Sometimes parents just say, hey, honey, here's some money to buy a house. You know what I mean? And you go, thank you very much. I'll take it. So there's not always a death in order for this to be true. With Mercury in the fourth house, there's a story here that can be very positive. And the way I like this story the most is that Mercury is about the ideas and the information and the mind, and he's in the house of home. So when you generate ideas from home, this is like the most positive home-based mindset program I've seen. You can prosper from those new ideas and that positive mindset. Mercury can also represent barter, marketing, selling, trade, investing, those things will help you prosper as well. So that's a beautiful energy for you. No complaints. I hope you enjoy that one. Certainly, in the square to Saturn, you're very sober-minded, realistic. Your sun, your moon, your rising is engaged with a Saturn energy at this time in Aries. And so you have this kind of stern, stoic, hard ass realism that you're able to assess what can make you prosperous. And I love the boundary nature of Saturn because you will form like silos of prosperity. You'll be able to contain, restrict, and siphon and boundary into this project here, this thing I'm doing here will be prosperous. And you'll be able to be very definitive about the energy, perseverance, and hard work it takes and know where to apply it. So you're not overly scattered or out of control. Of course, Saturn, Jupiter can be a fear of abundance, fear of being able to prosper, letting your fears get in the way of that grand energy. But if you don't use Saturn objectively and powerfully, he's a wise sage-like feature. Of course, squaring Neptune for the world, I indicated where you're confused, eluded, and where things that you want, truth is fogged out here. But Saturn can help you really see clearly in the energy of your sun, your career, your moon, your home life, and in your rising sign, anything about your life. So keep that in mind. All said and done as well, we have that beautiful flow to the North Node in Pisces that will be ongoing for the rest of this year as Jupiter transits through Cancer, his exaltation till the summer, July 1st kind of thing next year. And that indicates a huge amount of prosperity in and from your home connected to foreign marketplaces, foreign people, foreign shores, foreign lands, or moksha liberation. For Jupiter in the fourth is liberating you from your family of origin, your culture, and your tribe, while you also can be liberated in the deepest way, like Buddha and Jesus. Well, you can walk on water and you can see the root of desire is the cause of all suffering. There's some kind of spiritual breakthrough that you're quite capable of achieving in the next 12 months. I hope that's enjoyable. Hope that helps. I hope this is something you can use. Aries, I'm going to take away the ascendant. We really don't need it in the mix because you'll be able to see your rising sign or the glyph on the left as the one that is we're talking about, right, guys? You come into the room, sometimes you go, where are we? Just look to the sign at 9 a.m. That's the sign we're talking about. All right. The 9 a.m. position is the eastern horizon on your visual dial there. We're moving on next, and we're talking. I had a good sleep last night. I am feeling very, very optimistic. I discovered that the older I get, there's a ladybug. Why does a ladybug only come out when I am talking to you guys on the window? And I'm not kidding you. I mean, I live in this house. There's not a regular ladybug guest appearance. And here I am recording this Jupiter expansion video, and we get ladybug energy. Okay. Yay, everybody. So she's a very lucky bug. All right, moving into the Taurus. Now, Taurus. Jupiter, back in, summer of 90 to 91 or 2002 to 2003. And now here we are, 2025 to 2026. What we see here is Jupiter rebirthing himself in the heart of the sun in your third house. The rebirth of Jupiter in your third house is indicating that you're going to, with wisdom and abundance and hope and faith, start something new. In that third house, what is the third house? I hear you say, study, skills-based learning. You go off to ivory tower for like highfalutin degrees, but in that third house, you go to college to get a skill. You're going to learn to be a plumber. You're going to get a real estate license. You're going to get some kind of usable skill through learning. And so some of you may educate yourself in the next 12 months to learn a skill that you can use in your life, professionally or otherwise. Jupiter is teacher and educator, and you may be teaching or you may be learning. Either one, you start fresh beginning. If you're old enough, maybe you were in a learning mode 2002 summer to 2003, 1990 to 91. Go back and think about it. Also, Taurus traveling. Yes, Jupiter is in a house of shorter distance travel and neighborhoods and stuff like that. Now, this can be moving within your city or your state, or even traveling or moving within your country. The moving part is possible more directly if your IC is in the third house in the whole sign house system, floating through the third. Otherwise, it could be a lot of travel, expansion, growth, and traveling for spiritual or learning reasons. Sometimes when Jupiter's here, we travel on a quest, a spiritual quest. And the sun says, reset button, travel for spiritual questing. if you have a sibling, first of all, siblings in general are here. Good things are happening. Reset button for siblings, but a sibling one younger is particularly here, and good things for that sibling, which is also ruled by the moon. So therefore, I'd say something like good prosperity for a younger sibling if you have one, or siblings in general, as a side collateral of your sky. With Mercury in the third house, there's a strong possibility of communicating, marketing, and selling being a very big preoccupation for you, as well as learning and study in the next year. And the third house is also your online social media, website, and virtual neighborhood. And so a lot of people here will end up doing big things in their online world. And if you're already there, good prosperity, abundance, and positivity in this part of the sky. Now, with that square to Saturn, sometimes you're going to be a little bit anxious or fearful that you can pull it off. You might actually want to really put your fears in check over the next year to say, I can do this, the little engine that could. Or if you're using Saturn wisely, you have the perseverance and stamina to make some dreams come true in the third house. All right. Now, one thing about learning and studying and growing in a skills-based way here is how you might want to apply that to greater earnings, to making more money, because of course the moon is in the second house. And so it indicates that there's a translation of potential new prosperity here as well, in a powerful realignment towards how you make money in this world. With Athena in your 10th house, some of you are going to learn a new skill or trade for your work, whether you have to formally study in an educational setting or you're doing on-the-job training. There's some vibe here, and it will indeed help your money, and it will help you prosper, because the moon is in the earnings and savings house, although it is kind of balsamic. So it kind of is getting weaker and losing light, but it could mean that you're using ages old wisdom in order to accrue new earnings and through new learning. Well, sometimes it's something as simple as getting a car. Mars is in the fifth house in a sextile to the sun and Jupiter, and he does rule automobiles. This is a transportation house anyway, commuting, moving about, taking transit. So some of you may acquire a car that you really want, buy a car, Mercury, in the next year. That could easily show up as this kind of story for you as well. Sounds incidental, but it would be a car that you need. Like maybe you need it for work or money, or to get to your school. And that's another story. If you have any addictions, especially with Chiron still finishing up your 12th house, Saturn and Neptune, addictions being constricted or restrained, then I think you're learning ways to do the recovery in a successful manner, or to engage in moderation in a successful manner as a result of this sky. Oh, and one more thing. You may get work in a distant shore or far off land. You may move far away from where you currently are in order to secure work. And if you're an entrepreneur, this is also just as excellent for a good entrepreneurial chutzpah by engaging foreign lands, foreign shores, and foreign people. Hey, Gemini, I have a progressed sun there. No, your progressed planets are not as important as your natal, but they do count as an extra layer of meaning. So here we go. So Jupiter is conjoining the sun in the second house of earnings, savings, and resources financially, as well as foods that you eat and your face. Number one, Jupiter makes everything big, including your appetite. So be careful. Often this can lead to a bit of gluttony, and you may be resetting, yes, in a wise way with headquarters, but Jupiter is still Jupiter for a year. So watch for a tendency to overindulge in substances that go into your mouth. Hopefully not too bad, but you might be there with an issue, right? I don't know that you'll be able to sustain it. Saturn squaring that gluttony or that overindulgence could easily get it back into control, especially with Neptune, especially if they're addictive. Now, I mean, what's addictive, right? Some people will say, popcorn's addictive. So it's up to you to define what addiction means to you. Looking at this reset button in the earnings, and you had it, as I said, 2002 to 2003, summer to summer, and I can attest to that. I mean, back in the day, I have a progressed sun. Was it progressed back there? Yes, it was. Was it? Let me think about that. Am I missing something? Did I miss 2012? Did I say 2002 when I meant 2012? Yes. 2012. Sorry, guys. 2012. Brain, come back online. I do not have time to re-record the video. Of course, 1990 to 2012. My God. I don't have a brain today. And do I do that right? 1990 and add 12. I honestly can't think. 2, 9, 10. No, I got that right. 2002. And then we add 2000. Oh, that's what I didn't do. So yeah. So 2002 plus 12. I forgot the last one. I think that's what I did. So 2002. I'm not giving up. I'm going to keep going till I do my math. I have dyscalculia, which because I'm autistic, it's normal. So 2014. Okay. So Jupiter co-joining in 2014 with the sun in the sign of Cancer. That's what it's going to remind you of. It's also 2014 and 15. But in 2002, 2003, I ended up quitting my job, okay, and starting a new direction in earnings. And the same thing happened in 2014 and 15. So that's what I want you to compare it to. That will help you figure out your life, okay? OMG, 2014, 15, repeat. 2014, 15. Okay. Sorry about that. Now, what I say is you want to do changes to your face. I don't know. Veneers on your teeth, a nose job or whatever. Jupiter is about prosperity and wealth and there's a sense of protection like with him there. So any changes to your face you want to make, you can go ahead and do that pretty well, tucked under the safety of Jupiter's wings, because he's sextiling the god of surgery in the house of health. It may be also remedial, like you need to do something, get braces or get your wisdom teeth pulled or something. But all said and done, you should be pretty safe in any surgical procedure to the face or any abrasive or changing your face procedure, cutting, braiding, burning, Mars to your face that you choose to do should be fine. Okay, should go well. Your voice is in the second house. If you use your voice for earnings, like me talking all the time, then your voice is going to be attending towards more Jupiterian speech, upbeat, enthusiastic, optimistic, energy, right? And you might find that your prosperity from speaking is on the rise, especially in the trine to the North Node in the 10th house. So speaking equals prosperity and career expansion and success. If that's something that you do, even if you're speaking in meetings in your company and they want you to talk to other divisions, speaking increases success, whether it's this kind of speaking or any kind of speaking. Now, the moon, which is the ruler of where Jupiter sits, is sitting in your Gemini house, right? So there's a sense here that you translate this new sense of abundance and prosperity and maybe facial appearance into a new version of yourself in which you feel more a leaderful, more captivating, more on your A game, more king and queen of your own Mount Olympian placement, right? So I like this for you if you're somebody who's trying to up-level your self-image or your career, home, but certainly your self-image, and really feel really engaged in a new version of you that I am prosperous, wealthy, abundant, wise, truthful, and guru-y. What else can I say? And now Jupiter is abundant, gluttony or overindulgence, but Venus is sextiling from the 12th house of self-undoing. You may have a breakthrough in getting rid of an addiction, a breakthrough in getting rid of an overindulgence in a substance. I'm still trying to write the wine lover's middle way. This would be that would be that story right here. I swear. All right, let's keep on going. Sorry about that, guys. I almost forgot. How can I go from 2002 to 2025 without including 2014, 15? Like that is my autistic brain. All right. Finding out that I late diagnosed and neurodivergent has been a blessing. Explains my whole life. All of my friends and my partner and my family, I was like, oh my God, yes, that's so you. Now we understand you. All right. Cancer, sun, moon, and rising. You know that thing called read the room? I don't do it. Cancer, sun, moon, and rising sign. Well, first of all, it's happening in your sign. I could have started with you. Maybe I should have. And yes, you were on the stage, 78, 1990, 2002, 2014, at a year. You were summer to summer. You were on your A game of I am abundant. I am prosperous. I am faithful, hopeful. I'm expansive. I am growing. Now, sometimes it could be pregnancy growing. It could have been growing muscles. It could be getting chubbier, but you were on the growth edge. You were girthing out there. in each of these years. Your identity was expanding, right? If it was your Cancer sun, it would be career expansion. Cancer moon in these times, it would have been home expansion, including children. And this would also indicate as a pregnancy a feature as well. So because you keep resetting this button every 12 years, you're used to it. Mercury's here advising, kind of midwifing the story. He might say something like, what ideas do you want to generate that are expansive and optimistic? What mindsets do you need to adopt to move through life in a more optimistic way? Where can you find your faith in a friendly universe and come up with, new ways of thinking about reality and your life in general? So that's a nice combination for you. And it also put a microphone in your mouth. It could get you a little bit more willing to speak or to communicate to others. But, Mercury is what we call mute in the water signs. And so it's possibility, it's more internal. It's how you see and think about things. You'll notice that you could find yourself lucky for a whole 12 months. Just Jupiter in your sign is lucky, but it's a reset button with the sun to apply liberally to the possibility of greater wealth. The sun is the ruler of your second house of earnings. You could be lucky in love, lucky in money, lucky in anything you would choose to focus on. And, there is a quality here. He's exalted. He's going to push the boundaries for you. He's going to extend his abilities to make you a walking four-leaf clover if you're willing to receive a lucky story, especially with the North Node in another luck house, the ninth house, expanding a very cosmic luck, a divine luck, a luck from the house of God into your being. And that is a rare thing that hasn't happened since the 1800s with Jupiter here and the North Node in Pisces. It's really an ideal time to revise and rethink over the next 12 months, because Mercury makes you think about it, whether or not you are on your path. Is there a dharmic or a writer path for you? You want a writer path. That's just not good English. Is there a way that you wish to align with a true north path in life, a purpose, a career direction that really feels true for you? And that's been a story since 2013 with Chiron there in your 10th house that you may have been always wrestling with. And is this my true purpose? Am I moving in a direction of dharma? Is this what I really want in my life? Having, Mars sextiling this almost perfectly, which is beautiful, it's a nice feeling for you that maybe you can get some significant momentum in entrepreneurial endeavors over the next 12 months, as well as in any skills-based learning environment that you wish to study something. And you will find like you're studying it, but you feel like you've known it all your life because of the South Node. It could also be really good for more travel, North Node in international waters, South Node Mars in the local environment, and you might be engaged in a lot more travel than you usually are. And for some of you, this could look like a relocation to a new place to live, whether it's another country or another neighborhood, I can't tell you, but it could be very fortunate relocation, not unfortunate, fortunate relocation of your home in the next year. Ask yourself what you want to dedicate yourself to, that brings you joy and fun and creativity and pleasure. For the Vestal flame in the 5th house, talking to Jupiter and the sun, activating 5 and 9. These are Dharma houses, purpose and meaning, but also the 5th house brings that romantic love, that inspiration and creative enthusiasm. And yet you have to have a devotional flame to that thing or that person or that, situation. Possibly you could get a relationship out of this as well, just possibly. And if you do, it could end up being very committed. And it may be somebody you meet from larger groups of belonging, social circles, and hanging out with friends where Venus is sitting. All said and done, I don't think I missed anything. Jupiter rules justice and law, and North Node is expanding your 9th house of courts and court cases, and rules your house of lawsuits. So success and victory in legal matters that are contentious should be upon you in the 12 months that follows this reset button. Oh, and if you're into book publishing, oh my God, Mars is in the sign of the writer in your 3rd house with a South Node. You want to write from all skills and talents you've had all this time, from the past, from many lives. And the North Node expands your success in that house of publications. So whether it's Substack or book publishing, I don't care. You're publishing writing, and you're finding lucky breaks and success coming your way as a result. And the moon is in the 12th house. Your alone time, your solitude is golden. And your creative projects you do when you're home alone bring great prosperity. All right, Leo, sun, moon, and rising sign. Don't forget 2014-15 summer, 2002 to 2003, 1990 to 1991. You're going back every 12 years. If you can do that, congratulations. I forgot 2014 in the intro. My brain was offline. But I will tell you that your experience of this should be quite positive if you are looking for spiritual illumination, because your 12th house is the moksha liberation house from the matrix that comes with the whole samadhi, shunyata, unity consciousness, enlightenment vibe. And Jupiter can represent teacher or guru. Now, he is in a square to Saturn, and that would be an old guru. Somebody wise, someone who's a pioneering guru in Aries, mystical, and maybe half-assed enlightened. So that's a positive side of that square to Saturn and Neptune. But if it's not that, you might feel also constrictions or constraints coming from some authority figures, particularly father figures, particularly people in places of spiritual power, and they may be raining on your spiritual parade. So it can go either way, but it can open you up to huge levels of spiritual realization over the course of 12 months. Certainly, it's very positive for learning. For when Jupiter travels to 12th in general, he activates the 3rd and 9th house of learning, and you end up wanting to learn. You're like, I'm like, give me my more books. I'm going to study in them all the time by myself. I'm going to learn this thing. So learning opportunities emerge for you, and they can be extremely, extremely important for your life. Mercury is also involved with the mind and study. And so again, there's a lot of learning energy going on here for you. Similarly, you may have a desire to travel abroad and to go on explorations to foreign lands and countries as a result of both the 12th and 9th house activations. Now, having Mars moving through your earnings, money, savings, and resources, as well as dietary food style, you may make some significant changes to how you eat. You may do some significant changes to your facial appearance, but Jupiter is very protective and he is in the house of hospitals. So some of you may go under the knife, so to speak, for teeth, right? For nose, for anything on your face you want to revise, and in maybe medical settings. So that goes well. If you need to do that or want to do that, don't be so worried about it. You've got protection from Lord Jupiter. Having this energy as well of the North Node not seen since the 1800s, trining Jupiter as he's going to be moving through this part of your chart over the next 12 months, your 12th house, is extremely important because we haven't seen it since the 1800s, and it's going to expand your chunky money. What do I mean by chunky money? You didn't earn it. It was gifted to you, given to you. It's a grant, a stipend, an investment payoff, a severance package, money from a spouse, money from inheritance, that kind of thing. So ka-ching, here comes a bunch of money, maybe some chunky money increase for you. But from the 12th house, it could also come from foreign places, foreign lands, Vestal flame in the 4th as well, maybe connected to the sale of a property, especially with contractual Juno. Some Leos may sell a property and be therefore receiving some chunks of money in the next 12 months, and that should go extremely well for you. Finally, Leo, I kind of wanted to say don't drink the Kool-Aid, but I started off with the positive. But, with Neptune in the 9th house squaring Jupiter, this could be the false guru or the false teacher or the false advisor, like your therapist or your spiritual guidance or your business coach. Be really circumspect. Be really careful about whose advice and guidance, who's hand of the kinging you, right? Who's doing the advising of the night towards you? Because, well, Saturn will try his best to make the person wise and real. Neptune still makes confusion happen. So you don't want to fall into this kind of delusion or rose-colored glasses about the power of this advisor, right? And so even just a therapist. So be careful about who you are willing to believe. Jupiter can rule belief, faith, and hope. Don't put your faith, hope, and belief in someone until you test them. Test them, right? Make sure you test them and be more cautious about that. But if you are testing and you find the person's merit is there, then holy man, I don't know, are you going to go off to India. Now you could also get a book publishing deal or a court win, as I said. All said and done, it has multiple directions it could take. Hope that was enough time, Virgo. I didn't time myself. All right. I mean, Virgo, I mean, Leos. Virgo, sun, moon, and rising sign. So we have Jupiter in your 11th house of good spirit. This is a house where Jupiter has his joy in the ancient Hellenistic tradition. This indicates that he's expansive, he's growing, he's optimistic, he's full of faith, and he's going to make you more fortunate. For we have windfalls and pennies from heaven that come out of the blue in the 11th house. This is one of those transits, and maybe you got some windfalls or pennies from heaven in 2002 to 2013 summer, or 2014 to 15, or even going back 1990 to 91, every 12 years backwards, summer to summer. Maybe you lucked out financially. Your career gains, specifically promotions, raises, celebrity, money that you're getting straight from the employer, the 10th, the gains of the 10th are here. So increased prosperity, raises, promotions, more money in your career gains themselves. Mercury says you might be applying, negotiating, communicating to increase those gains in the next 12 months. A sibling one older than you can bring great luck, prosperity, and beneficence and goodness to your life, for this is the house of the sibling one older. The moon rules it in the house of career. So again, we see a lot of career gains increasing somehow, some way, in your finances especially. And I would say to you that if you are wanting to change or expand your social circles, you want more friends, different groups of friends, Jupiter can definitely do that. And with the trine to the North Node for the first time since the 1800s in your 7th house, you might also be meeting friends that you wish to partner with in business, or you could have new social groups that are connected to a new relationship. You meet a new partner of destiny, a new fated intersection of love, a new life mate coming in, and it could indicate from that you expand your social circles. Like his friends are your friends, or her friends are your friends. Mars is you being decisive, cutting away parts of your identity you don't need, letting go of an old sense of self. Mars is in a flow to Jupiter, and therefore you're able to increase your friendship circles and your prosperity and your career and your long-range goals and visions and dreams for your life, and attract benefactors and allies that want to help you and give you a leg up, because you are making radical decisions to let go, surrender, and release ways of, Virgo sun, performing your career, like quitting or your job or changing your career. Virgo moon, changing where you live. Virgo rising, changing your very identity. No longer will you see yourself that way. You're going to let go of something that doesn't serve you in a I am structure, right? I am an alcoholic. Let it go. I am unhappily married. Let it go. I am miserable in my job. Let it go. And the next 12 months will show that what you let go of increases all the good things in your life. Alrighty. And the fun, the play, the pleasure, the joy, the good spirit, the windfalls can come in by what you take away, making space for the good to show up. And technically, because the sun rules your house of self-undoing and addictions, in particular, addictions are good to let go of. Now, with Saturn in a square from the 8th house. Ew, that's intense, because that's a very karmic house. It's deep karma energy there in your chart. And you might have to go really deep below the surface of past lives or your family of origin and do a little soul searching this year to see where you might be entwined accidentally with parts of a story that aren't from your time, your life, this particular character that you're playing, especially if it connects to addictions and self-undoing, or delusion and self-illusion with Neptune there as well. If pennies from heaven are showing up, it could come from a father figure. Sun represents that, and Mercury rules the house of the father, and it's a waning moon. So I don't want to worry you because the sun rules hospitals. But some of you, if you have an elderly father in particular with Saturn in the house of death, or elderly grandparent or elderly great uncle, I don't know what else to say. Some of you may be coming into some financial prosperity, because feel like pennies from heaven, right? Through the passing of a male figure in your life. Now, again, this is general bell curve astrology. This is not your chart, but Jupiter rules legacy, wealth, and marriage. So maybe even spousal support, separation, death of a father figure. These are stories that I can see in your narrative in the next 12 months for some of you. Libra, sun, moon, and rising sign. Number one. Am I recording? Oh my God, please tell me. Yes. Okay. Number one, Jupiter is resetting your career, right? It's a reset button in the 10th house of reputation, social standing, the house of marriage, and career. Technically, yes, Lori can do math. 2014 to 15 summer of 2002 to 2003, 1990 to 91. Go back every 12 years and rinse, repeat. Reset, reset, reset. Did you make a change? If you're old enough to, go back and think about it. It's a positive, prosperous, expansive energy. It allows for fruitful abundance. It allows for career resets to do with teaching, learning. It makes you very authoritative and king of Mount Olympus in the career that you're choosing to advance forward in. And Mercury can also be really good if any of that career would require you to communicate in the public arena, whatever you're doing. Public communication serves you, and you are doing very well here. Getting in front of groups of people and speaking, for example. Hang on, I just dropped my paper. Okay. And now I would say to you, you are looking at Jupiter at the top of the sky, but the moon is the ruler of the temple of Cancer, and the moon is in the 9th house. So you're also going to succeed if any of your career endeavors involve legal matters, law, academics, professors, universities, book publishing, and teaching if you're teaching over a longer time, like a professor. I don't mean like you're teaching a weekend workshop. Pilgrimages. These are areas of also bringing you into great success, foreign lands and travel as well, and also intertwined with the idea of career success along with that. And possibly some of you will choose to study for your career as well, to go in educational mode to enhance your career as well. Professionally studying, basically, education for your profession. When I see Mars in such a beautiful sextile from the 12th house, I see foreign shores and distant lands. And I see that moon is there as well in foreign shores. A lot of you are going to spend some significant travel time in your next year, going about to distant places and foreign lands for usually in this chart professional reasons. And yet it also activates a sense of, an ability to do commercial enterprise with foreign companies. Like you're working for a foreign company, you're bartering and trading for the foreign company, your business clients are coming from foreign lands, and those sorts of things really succeed for you too. Very, very prosperous energy here as well. You want to be devoted to the way you make money. You want to be dedicated with the Vestal flame trining that Jupiter sun. This isn't for the faint of heart. The Vestal flame has to really apply yourself, much like Saturn, but the level of the dedication, devotion that you use increases the prosperity as well. Now, ultimately, because, the sun increases, the sun is the ruler of your 10th house. There is definitely an increase of gains in your career, but also social influence, also perhaps an increase in or a positive change in the long range targets you have for what you want to achieve. You know what I mean? What's your 5-year plan? It's changing, but it's going to be changing under Jupiter's wisdom and guidance. And if you want to make money from derivatives like royalty income, ad income from Google or ads or something like that, certainly Venus's flow to Mercury and, of course, in a broad way, Jupiter's sun indicates revenue sources that can be also derivative, including stock investments. I mean, not that I'm advising you in any given way because the markets are rather murky right now, but I would say that investing in the stock market in the next 12 months may have some sudden and surprising payoff where you have a pretty big increase of money. Maybe it's that I put all my money down on, red number 16 and you win, you know what I mean? So you could have a big win in investing as well in the next 12 months. But, be careful, right? Don't listen to an astrologer on this one. Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising sign. So you remember, this is a whole reset button that happened in 2014, 15, and also happened in 2012, 13, and also happened in 1990, 91. That's always around the same time, like June to June, right? So the 12 months of those cycles are behind you to reset you in your ninth house of God. Well, Jupiter is like a preacher on a pulpit up here. He's like, hallelujah, praise the Lord. Pass the potatoes. And so you could be very much attracted to spiritual traditions or spiritual practices, like picking up a meditation practice or suddenly going to church or synagogue or the mosque or something, getting down with a traditional religion, a teaching, an exalted teaching, like something very like high level. And you could find yourself very spiritual or very religious, either one, or very engaged in a quest for deeper meaning and truth with Jupiter up there. And over the next 12 months, that may be something that captivates you. And Mercury could be that you're studying as well. So this is ideal for any Scorpio who wants to go back to university or school and learn something. Higher level learning, higher education is up here. And Jupiter gives you luck in getting in, and Mercury is the application and the negotiations and the contracts. So certainly this is great for any Scorpio who thinks, I want to go back to school, or you're young enough to listen to me. Most of you aren't. I get Generation X mostly here, women, but you can most indeed be very fortunate in the next 12 months and being accepted at the school of your choice, so to speak. If you're in the book publishing industry or you want to publish a book, 2 thumbs up, go for it. Super success. Mars in the house of great gains, who rules lawsuits, Jupiter the judge. You win in lawsuits, you have great gains, you get a ka-ching of money, you might get, surprising results in any kind of legal contest of any kind. And with Jupiter, with the moon ruling this in your 8th house of chunky money, this favors you in divorce settlement monies, inheritance money disputes, and on we go. The North Node has not traveled through your 5th house, trining Jupiter here since the 1800s. This is a very strong fertility signature for giving birth, for conceiving a child, for becoming a grandparent. These stories will run like a strong river through this next year. And so if you don't want a baby because you or your partner are not thinking of that, it's pretty strong here, and you might get one anyway. Well, and be careful then, right? Because you have a sextile from Uranus at this ingress to the fertility house, and you could end up accidentally pregnant, or your partner could accidentally get pregnant. And you have to adopt the dedicated aspect. Like the vessel flame is trining from here, Jupiter, Sun. Like, how are you going to be more devoted, more dedicated to your publications, legal aspects, studies in university or college, things to do with dedicated to your spiritual path, your questing for truth, your alignment with your purpose and meaning of life. The sun rules your career. You want to translate that quest for meaning and dharma and purpose into your career. It may be with a square from Saturn that the job world, your employment structures are hard, that you feel like you're working hard, or you're feeling tired or anxious or drained in the work environment. And so I can see you guys wanting to make a leap or a faith into a new learning, going back to school, and I'm quitting my job as a welder and I'm going to become an astrophysicist. I don't know what your true path is, but you have to learn to see what's true and real. Neptune is a delusional factor here too. So be careful. I don't find that Jupiter square Neptune, Jupiter always gets the upper hand. This is where you could be self-deluded or confused in what you think is true and real when it comes to, let's say, the perfect opportunity to find a spiritual teacher, or to move into a area of learning, or to find your perfect college and quit your job. I don't know, something like that. It's a possibility this engages a little bit of a change of your home life due to the ability to go into a rental opportunity or to rent a property out. And there may be elements of that in the next 12 months for you, all right, that show up. That's courtesy of, by the way, Pluto, Saturn, Neptune. But because Saturn, Neptune anchor the energy, right, and talk to Jupiter in a square, it kind of all goes back to, are you going to rent a property in a foreign country? Or you're going to rent a property to go back to school? Or you're going to rent out a room in your home to a student? I don't know. But the point is, it all wants to be auspicious and blessed. Final bit of a guidance for you. Lakshmi, wealth, and luck is an Dharma energy is the ninth house. Jupiter is luck. And also he's well situated as a natural ruler of Sagittarius. The sort of a secondary meaning he kind of owns some of the house energetically. So the luck is here for you. It trines you. And the North Node is in the house of good fortune. If anything to leave you with, a four-leaf clover or a horseshoe or a rabbit's foot, get a talisman of luck and put it in your home and live into the luck, Scorpio. Things are going to go your way more than you imagined, better than you think in this next 12 months. And you can't compare this to the past because in 14, 15, and 2002, 2003, etc., we didn't have the North Node in the house of good fortune, your fifth house, expanding your fortune. All right, now we have a Sagittarius, you are Jupiter ruled story. Jupiter is your ruler and he co-joins the sun every 12 years in your Cancer sky. Your Cancer sky, the sign of Cancer, is chunky money. Now, this can be inheritance eighth house money. This can be money from divorce settlements, money from insurance payouts, tax rebates, money from book royalty income, money from ad revenue, money from an investment in the markets. So all this kinds of unearned or other people's money, right? But you invest in the market, you're a shareholder in a company. You share the company and then you reap the rewards. So ultimately, obviously, you could be getting some money this year, Sagittarius. That's what it means. It comes out of not in your earnings at all, from some other left field place. Go back. Did you get a chunk of money in 14, 15? Maybe you did. I don't know. Now, the eighth house is occult mysteries, Jupiter's teacher. Mercury is I talk to dead people. So this is ideal for any of you who want to go deeper into paranormal, occult mysteries, hermetic arts, tarot, the occult mysteries, right? The hidden realms of that stuff. Learn, study, really apply yourself to understanding Mercury, those things, and you will be profitable and happy that you did that. Especially with Venus in the workhouse, you could apply that to doing it for a livelihood and maybe doing it from home. The North Node expands home, property, land, and real estate, and family of origin, money, and legacy wealth. And it opens up through the eclipses, especially a reverb to Jupiter in the eighth, indicating some of you Sagittarius may come into money from family of origin this year or next year, like all the way through to actually 2027. Can't explain that right now, but trust me on that. But the seeds are being planted by Jupiter for that money to be received by you. Sale of a family property or family home, sale of home, money, property in the homeland. Okay, these are ideas I have here. Saturn is squaring from the fifth house, making sexual and romantic love difficult. It's already got a heavy pallor there with Saturn, anxious, fearful, heavy, burdened energy in the romantic chart, or your house of your children, your fifth house, or your entrepreneurial and creative energies. And now Jupiter squaring from the eighth of spousal separation agreement money. This is maybe a little more challenging for some relationships that are already engaged, right? The moon rules the house of marriage. It owns this death and rebirth in the eighth house of shared resources. Saturn squares from the house of romantic love. So therefore, some of you in already existing long-term love relationships are looking at the whole story of the end and the parsing of the assets between two people. Your children may go through some difficulties with their money, and you may be in a position to give them a helping hand in the next 12 months. Obviously, not the piggy bank for your kindergarten kid, but rather your adult children, especially your firstborn child. I take it back, first or second-born child. For the moon is in the house of the second-born, ruled by Mercury with Jupiter. So maybe even more so if you have more than one child, even more so being able to financially support or help out a second-born child. But a firstborn as well, where Saturn sits. Mars is sextiling from the 10th house of career and marriage, like weddings and the marital situation. You know, I'm married, I'm divorced, I'm widowed. And Mars cuts, ends, and severs. South Node says, let go. I'm sorry, Sagittarius. Some of you in a long-term committed love story are looking at some really choppy 12 months ahead. Now, that said, if you're single, would I start a new relationship under this? Not because of Jupiter. Okay. Venus is in a dating house with Uranus. You could meet somebody and start dating. How exciting. But if you're already in a relationship, it's challenging. And this is not the sky. It's not pretending, wow, lucky me, I've got a new love story. I mean, that can come from other stories. The Jupiter story is about shared mutual resources and assets, cutting, severing, pairing, all kinds of stuff like that. All righty. That's what I got for you. FYI, the Vestal Flame and with the marriage goddess in the house of distant shores, Sun ruling the ninth house of foreigners. Especially if you're in a relationship with a foreigner, there may be some challenges. But if you want to start a new relationship, although I would say there's some complicating energies, it could open up a new relationship, but you might have difficulty seeing each other, geographical separation in the next 12 months. But that could be a major feature of this story as well. And with Mercury in the eighth house, it's just a little hidden from the world. It's offline. It's kind of secret, new relationship for some Sagittarius in the next 12 months. Okay. Oh, my nose is itchy. Sorry, guys. As I fidget a lot because I'm autistic, so stop criticizing me. Thank you. I know I'm being preemptive, but I mean, I've been doing this for 5 years online pretty well all the time, full time, and it never ceases to amaze me how people are so gnarly. All right, so now we move into Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Rising. I'm going to grab a little chocolate break, though. I will be right back. I'm back. All right, so the next thing I want to talk about is Capricorn. We have 3 more signs to go on the Jupiter reset button with the Sun in Cancer, seen every 12 years. Shall we move on to the exciting story for Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign? Well, first of all, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you are in the live premiere, especially if not, and you're catching this later, still please hit my buttons. Thank you. Now, don't push them, just hit them. Smash that button with a thumb up. Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Jupiter, Sun, marriage house. This is an auspicious new beginning that can lead to a new relationship that brings marriage or commitment, or that one existing can go up to the next level of commitment and, moving in together, or going monogamous, or getting engaged, or getting married. Okay. And so the other thing can also happen. Jupiter Sun can be another pivot away from that relationship status. Now, Jupiter is more likely to want to bring a positive, wealthy, a bounteous, positive new relationship into your life if you're single, or cement the one that you have. I mean, he's going to try his best. Let's put it that way. Will he accomplish it? We shall see. But sometimes Jupiter is just as happy to say blessed endings. It doesn't make the cut. So Mercury's a lot of communication going on there. This is your audience and marketplace if you have one, and you cater to clients, audience, marketplace from your 10th house, from your 10th, that is the 7th. Then this is going to bring you prosperous, wealthy, positive clients. Could expand your reach to an audience, especially if your work is marketing, selling, or communicating. It could also be a lucky legal contract connected to matters to do with increasing your prosperity. And it may require travel because the North Node says lots of travel could increase for contractual agreements connected to work gains, the Vestal Flame in the 11th. So looking for a job or work, or expanding your work, you're going to be traveling more, increasing your gains, getting more prosperous, reaching a larger outreach. I'm a director of sales, for the state of Georgia. Now I'm a director of sales for Georgia, Alabama, and Florida, that kind of thing. You see what I mean? But also your partner could be very lucky and have a reset in their life. You see Jupiter in the house of a significant long-term partner. Your partner gets collateral benefits. They get to have a Jupiter reset button because this is your partnership and they're your partner. And so they have a kind of a new bounty, especially if they communicate, market, seller, right? And they have a new fresh start as well. And certainly having Jupiter in a trine to the Vestal Flame and sextiling Mars, well, that's very auspicious, because this means that your partner can also be increasing their career gains. Maybe they're also having international success, book publishing success as well. You could have some of that too. Book publishing success, international success, maybe traveling to foreign shores and lands with Mars in your 9th house with your significant other. Those are possibilities. if you're thinking about relationships and marriage and stuff like that, well, you know, Juno is the wife of Jupiter, and they're in a whole sign trine. So you're going to be erring on the side of keeping relationships stable if you can. That's probably what it is. But if it ends with a trine, then Juno is also going to be a very namaste, and it's all going to be seen through the lens of a spiritual light and truth. No harm done, meant to be. It's, agreed upon. It's mutual, that kind of thing. Now, you do have Venus in your fifth house of sexual and romantic love and shocking, surprising things with Uranus, sextiling your long-term committed love. So single cappies can be meeting a very exciting, electric relationship partner in the next year from this ingress, of this conjunction, I mean. Having a square from Saturn, Neptune. Okay, let's go into the hardship. Saturn can make things to do with home and homeland hard. You may be feeling anxious or uncertain or heavy, burdened about home and homeland, or where you want to live. Or maybe an elder's moved into your home. Maybe you're, and squaring Jupiter, maybe your partner's mom or dad or grandparent is living with you. Something like that feels really hard here. Or you just feel like you're trying to make a dream come true about where you want to be and heal that chironic wound around home that you've had since 2013, like where you live and all of that. And there's a square from Jupiter. And it's kind of like, the sun rules your house of shared assets with another person and legacy wealth. So there's a possibility some of you could come into some money. And the only way I can see that coming to you here is in a divorce settlement or from a sibling, perhaps from a sibling 3 older than you. So there could be some money coming in from that kind of situation as well. The sun is in the house, the moon is in the house of health and work and debts and indebtedness and rental properties. You may rent a property with a significant other in the next 12 months. You may be able to pay off a debt in the next 12 months, waning moon, close it down, but maybe the money's coming from property, from marriage, or from a sibling 3 older than you. The moon says it's time for a pet if you want a pet. But maybe it's not your idea, it's your significant other because of Jupiter in the 7th house. Luck will come to you in the next 12 months from other people. You're not going to make your own luck. It comes through the Jupiter others in your life axis of the chart. So let others distribute luck liberally in your direction in the next 12 months. You prosper, expand, and grow through the beneficence of others. And lastly, Jupiter can be guru. If you're looking for a spiritual guru and the sun Jupiter is the good father archetype, then you're very likely to find your perfect guru in the next 12 months. And with Mars in the 9th with the South Node, from foreign lands, foreign shores, and deeply spiritual places that you've been before, so you can release and surrender and step into your spiritual life. Jupiter rules full liberation, moksha of your 12th house. So you will get there through the help of another, in this case, a teacher or a teaching. All right, Aquarius, sun, moon, and rising sign. What do I have for you here? First thing I want you to know is that, yes, it's a regular repeat, 2002 to 2003, 2014 to 2015 cycle, and go back every 12 years, kind of summer to summer, June to June. And this story is always going to reset your 6th house. Now, the 6th house has got many meanings. First of all, it's called the house of sickness. And so it will connect you to work. To work, to health challenges or health improvements. Jupiter would improve your health and he'll find solutions, or he can exacerbate or expand an existing health problem for your attention so you can resolve and heal it. So that's okay. He'll protect your health as well. Digestion and is particularly connected to the stomach, is connected to Cancer. So pay attention to your digestive habits and your food habits as well. He is flowing to the North Node in this reset button of a year. He bakes in the idea of destined change in how you eat in order to improve how you feel and how your body goes into better health. Jupiter here can also be about expanding your employees. Well, I have 2 employees right now because I'm Aquarius rising. I'll share that with you. And I might get a 3rd or a 4th. You see, expanding my staff, my servants, If you're a servant and you're in a job, I've seen it work like you're going to expand your power, your prosperity, your role in the job you currently hold. For I find that in real life, the job, my day job, my job is sixth house. You're being of service and you're working in a job. And Jupiter says luck, increase of prosperity, especially with the North Node, increase of money and revenue and resources and prosperity in the workhouse over the next 12 months. And you can compare the past to see if you did increase your prosperity. So if I go back to my life in 2014 to 2015, did I do that right? My brain. Did I make more money? Yes, I did. Yeah, I did. So, and I won't go into all the details, but I had a couple of prosperity boosts back then, but through the archetype of work. Now, work for you doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be that you are in a day job. I want to be really clear about that. The moon is in the house of entrepreneurial and creative endeavor. So this is also covering those of you who have an entrepreneurial or creative side. And it doesn't you do not have to be locked and loaded here into, this one kind of way of being. So if you're an entrepreneur, an artist, or creative, then prosperity through the work and service you're doing is somehow available to you. All right, you can prosper there. I kind of also would say that pets are of the sixth house, and Jupiter is a lot, like expanding. If you have pets, you get more. You are a big pet, a large pet, like what do you call those big dogs in Rome, guys? The ones that used to fight with the Romans, a mastiff. I wanted a mastiff at one time. Or you don't just get a cat, you choose two, or you get the litter and you keep them all, like crazy but true. These stories happen when people are engaged in a Jupiter pet house. And so don't get a pet. Get pets is all I'm trying to tell you. And it's very possible that you will find that even if you think I'll never get another dog, or I have 5 dogs already, who needs another one? I've seen my real-time clients, just transit alone can bring pets. Now there's a reset button here. And so I want to bring your attention to another element. Mars is cutting, ending, and severing in your 8th house. What does that give you? Well, it gives you a kind of essence that you might want in some fundamental way to eliminate or cut away some kind of financial situation where you feel debt or indebtedness, and you want to be liberated from that. And you don't even have to do it. The sky can liberate you from a debt. It can be literal, like it can be like, oh my God, I have, what do you call it? Like, I have a credit card debt. I have a mortgage that's really holding me back. But it can also be more metaphorical, like a spiritual debt. So if you have a sense that maybe you've got a spiritual debt and you want to eliminate it, that's a good thing to do as well. I'm going to just stop the share for a sec. I'll be right back. I think I just heard a doorbell or something. Okay, so am I recording? I am. So let me go back and we're going to finish up Aquarius and then Pisces, and we're done. And I'll give you an extra thingy and we'll move on. Okay, moving it into the larger sky. And here we go. You could say at the end of the day, by the way, Pluto's in your sign, right? So you're like power, Pluto powered up. You might want to devote yourself to your career, like in a sort of sacred way with a Vestal flame. It's flowing to the workhouse Jupiter. It's kind of like, how can you be more devoted to the work you do? Because you feel like it's a sacred calling. It's not just a job. It's in your soul. It needs to be expressed. And this Vestal flame, and even Juno, you could partner with somebody here in a work environment, is really giving Jupiter the mojo down here. And with Venus in the 4th house, I should have said this. This is an interesting time, moon in the 5th. Okay. Fertility is here, but you don't have to give birth to a baby. You can give birth to a book, an art endeavor, an entrepreneurial business idea. And Venus is also quite capable of increasing your beauty and your art and your wealth and your prosperity and your luxuries in your home through the work you do. So that's a whole 12-month story. So see how that fits for you. And, I'm going to share something at the extra that's kind of funny. I don't know if I'm going to make an intro about it, but it's kind of weird. Now, the North Node is increasing your earnings. Jupiter is having joy and wisdom and truth in the work And the dedication of the 10th house, Artha house, is there. So the dedication and discipline through sacred calling increases your prosperity and enjoyment and luck and work, including having more pets and more employees if that's something you want to do. And finally, all right, Pisces, sun, moon, and rising sign. Your Jupiter ruled, this is your guy. He's in the 5th house of baby making, fertility, children, love, romance, sometimes sexuality, things to do with your creative, entrepreneurial, and procreative instincts. Jupiter in the 5th house is very luscious, and with a flow to the Vestal flame in the house of grandchildren, your 9th house, if you are thinking of being a grandparent because your parent, you have kids who are childbearing age, well, then that could be this year and the 12 months that follow. Now, you don't have to have babies or grandparents and children and all that. You can have a new business, a new entrepreneurial endeavor, a new project creatively that you're going to give birth to in the next 12 months. Did you birth something in like 78, 79, 1990, 91, 2002, 2003? And this 2025, we're going to be explaining something really interesting. I'm not going to put it in the intro, but put it in the extra. OMG. Somehow Jupiter and Sun did not conjunct in 2014 as scheduled. They missed the beat with each other, although Jupiter in 1314 was traveling through the sign of Cancer. The Sun did not co-join. So when we did the extra, we're going to find out why, because I was using software to delineate the dates. And it's almost like, how could they miss, I guess, a retrograde cycle? So we're going to take a look at that because I'm confused. Now, if you are at all wanting to win the lottery, Jupiter in the house of good fortune can have blessings that way. And Mercury represents like ballots and tickets, and bingo halls and casinos, maybe marketing and selling and investments. So there could be a ka-ching here in your life. You could suddenly strike it richer, in the next 12 months. I mean, keep in mind, your own natal chart tells me as an astrologer whether you even can win a lottery in this life. So this is not for every single Pisces, okay? It's not a personal reading. But Mars is also in the house of marriage with the South Node, and he's flowing to the Jupiter archetype with Mercury, the ruler of the marriage house. And so this is an interesting time. If a Pisces is married already, you may not be. You may find Jupiter wants to bring a blessed ending to that relationship for some reason. But if you are not married, this could indicate a very passionate and beautiful new relationship emerging because of destined and fated factors, South Node. Speculative investments like stock market gains as well can be very well favored for you in the next 12 months. Entrepreneurial businesses will grow and thrive under this influence. And your children have collateral benefits. Your children are going to thrive and grow and prosper because of the sky. Your children will succeed more than they normally do. I don't care how old they are. And this is particularly auspicious for both of your children, first and second born, for reasons I'm not going to delineate. Now, the Sun is a ruler of the 6th house of work and the house of creative and entrepreneurial endeavors and just good fortune. Good fortune with work, good fortune with getting a job, good fortune with creative and entrepreneurial endeavors coming your way in the next 12 months. The North Node, last seen in the 1800s, trining from the 1st house. You are expanding and growing towards more worldly success in a fated and destined way because you're harnessing creativity, enthusiasm, inspiration, and aligning your will with the will of the divine. Saturn in the house of earnings, resources, and possessions, including money and savings, is in a bit of a pickle. He's kind of mopping up here. He's going to give you structures to steadfastly improve your finances. This is what happened to me, and I incorporated during that transit. For you, it could be something like that, or you might be able to create a new savings plan or identify where money leakage is happening. But as Saturn is Mr. Taskmaster in your savings, monies, earnings, and possessions house, he squares exuberant Jupiter, who would probably want to do leisure travel, fun, play, pleasure, and go into excess. Now, I've moved us to June 25 because I'm moving through the chart. Let's go back to the 24th so you can see that the moon is here in your 4th house of home, property, land, and real estate. And Jupiter and the Sun are in the moon's temple. And therefore, you may have good fortune as well in property, real estate, and land and home over the next 12 months. Certainly would be ideal also for renting your home out or renting a home. Back to Saturn's like Debbie Downer in the money house. He's actually trying to help you be more serious about your money and more realistic. And Neptune is the delusion that Saturn is helping to dispel, to get more clear. You'll be much more clear next year when these guys are together actually perfectly. But there's an attempt here to dispel a fog of confusion about your finances. Saturn wants to do that. And Jupiter could also act like a linchpin here. Maybe you could win some money. Maybe you could come into some prosperity that you did not expect. You have a Vestal flame of devotion in the house of foreign lands and shores, publishing and book publishing. And there can be some prosperity therefore from publishing, book publishing, foreign travel, academic environments, or as Mars is a god of lawsuits or legal disputes, getting favored in a legal situation and being fortunate financially because of it. The courts favor you and you financially blossom. You might get involved in it if you're single, or you're starting a new relationship. The next 12 months might involve travel. Goddess Venus in the house of distance travel, and Jupiter in the house of romance. So there's a sense that there may be a relationship coming your way, but it may not be the girl down the street. Or the guy next door. You might have to travel or be going into commuting or something in order to make this relationship work. If you're with somebody, Mars in South Node, I'm sorry, that's not the easiest transit for an existing marriage, okay? So there may be some challenges here, and Jupiter's going to try to smooth it all out and make it all sort of, when rubber hits the road kind of thing, make it a little bit better than it could be. If you're in a difficult relationship and the marriage partner seems angry, gnarly, argumentative, grumpy, or if they have injuries, or if they have a fever, rash, or their health challenges are evident to you in the next, this is true, June, July, August kind of thing, but I'm drawing your attention to the baked in energy of the next 12 months. So, your marriage partner could be really grumpy, or your long-term love partner. Yeah. Or really having a health challenge, or really injured or something. Virgo, spleen, fingers, can't remember the rest. Lumbar spine, low back. So this energy is like Jupiter's trying to find the joy, the play, the fun, the exuberance, and the pleasure in a long-term relationship. Maybe just salvage it and conversations and going more deep and having more fun somehow, some way. Even if you're single, starting a new relationship with Mars in the 7th house, it means separation. So those new relationships already hinted at travel to see each other. There's geographical issues. There's separation going on here. Whether you're moving away or you're working and traveling or vice versa, or you can just meet somebody who doesn't live locally, there's a lot of separation baked in between you and that person in the next 12 months. Yeah, when you get together with Jupiter in the 5th, you might feel like kids in the garden having fun, innocent play, robust romantic travel opportunities, enjoying really profound conversations that are very deep and very intimate. So this can be that, but this is like a relationship that's struggling to be together all the time, whether it's already existing in your life and someone's traveling a lot, or it's new and there's geographical separation. Try to find the balance between irrational exuberance about how lucky you are, which you are. Jupiter's in the house of good fortune, and what you need to do to be sensible about spending money. You need to clamp down on over-exuberant pleasure activities that cost you too much money in the next 12 months, because Saturn will be very grumpy if you don't. And he's going to be kind of like leaning into cautious conservative spending, despite how much excitement you feel in that very inspirited, full of inspiration, enthusiastic, love of life energy. It's almost like you could be extremely creative, but again, you have to clamp down on the money. You can't just quit your job and work on your screenplay. You got to find some balance here. Okay. Hopefully that's useful. Now, here's what I'm going to share with you guys. This is not even my normal outro. This is my go-go dress. I got a go-go dress right out of the 60s. It reminds me of my pedal pushers and stuff. I want to show you something that I can't figure out. I didn't plan this, but like I took the dates. Look at this. This is just the outro. It's Lori figuring out what the hell, you know, and you're going to watch me. Ready? That is the dates in which those two come together. See the different degrees of, you know, the sun in Cancer joining with Jupiter in Cancer. The last time we had it at 3 degrees was 1942. Eek, that was World War II. But if you look through the sky and you're like looking at the dates, it's 2002 and it should be 2014. And it skips a beat or whatever. And I'm like, what the hell just happened there? Now we have retrogradations and things move in elliptical orbits and stuff, but let's go figure this out together. I'm going to get the chart up and we're going to look at, yes, I know they co-joined at 27 degrees of Cancer. They were very high. You know, I noticed this, right? 1942, 3 degrees, 54, 8 degrees, 66, 13 degrees, 78, 17, 22 in 1990. 2002, 27. So it's because it's going up a degree. I think it literally, the sun and Jupiter miss each other in the in between here. And we actually missed this conjunction in that next iteration, which should have been 2014. Right? It could have been 2013, 14, but it didn't. Like Jupiter was moving through the sign of Cancer, but the sun and Jupiter didn't connect. So let's get out of that and let's go take a look together at what the hell that is. Like, because I wasn't expecting that. And I was like, it wasn't really, I just thought I forgot to write something down. So goes to show you, I might be doing astrology for a ton of years, but I'm always surprised by the arrhythmic cycles that the sky can do. It does arrhythmic cycles now and then. It's all about math. I'm not a math genius. I have a dyscalculia. So here we have it, guys. So if I was to go back to 12 years earlier, let's do that together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now we're in 2013, June. And where is Jupiter? Jupiter is at 29 degrees of Gemini. The sun is at 2 degrees of Cancer. They still should meet, right? They have to meet. No? This is what, like, I'm like, did the software screw it up? They had no, do they not meet? Jupiter's moving too slow to meet the sun. The sun gets away from him. This is nuts. All right, we skipped a beat. So basically Jupiter in summer of 13 to 14 is moving, not 14, 13 to 14 is moving through Cancer, but not able to catch the sun. And therefore we missed it. I'm going to go ahead just to make sure on the tail end of that, they don't meet up, but I don't think they do, right? So now I'm in 2014 and the sun is in Aries. Jupiter is where he's still in Cancer. Yeah, it's not going to happen. So sun's trying to catch him. There's the sun in July 14th of 2014, sun at 21 degrees, Jupiter at 29 degrees. They do not perfect. Now, that's a cosmic story that must repeat on a regular cycle, that we end up missing a connection between headquarters sun and Jupiter, you know, every odd number of years. So 1942 to 2014, do the math, that cycle, there is a misfire on this conjunction. That is interesting to ponder in terms of, it probably goes back to, if I was to track this cycle, kind of a deficit of wisdom and truth and directionality in leadership, in our own lives, on that regular rhythm of missing the beat. So this is going to take us back to, like, we missed the reconnection in 2014. It didn't happen. And so from 2014 to 2025, we've been adrift with Jupiter unable to control or contain or meld or merge with the sun for wise leadership, good father energy. Yeah, I don't even know what to say about that. That's bizarre. Okay, so that's that. My outro is Lori figuring out why the hell the software was showing me nothing after 2002. And you guys have a thought about that? Like, what does it mean that we have a pocket of time every several odd years, like maybe once every 100 years, where Jupiter and Sun may not connect together? Hmm. Hmm. Okay. That's what I've got for you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. And do I have any reflections? I do. I do. Pay attention to your dreams. I don't know. I have a lot of my clients now starting to say to me over the last few years that their dreams are becoming prophetic. Now, I've always had prophetic dreams. Prophetic dreams have been a part of my wheelhouse since I was a kid. I was living in Toronto with my boyfriend that summer. I was 18 or 19 years old. I think it was whichever one I was. And I had down to spend time with him. I must have been 19. But anyway, I went down to spend a summer with him in Toronto, Mississauga. And I had a dream that I was in an avalanche and there was like the snow. I don't ski, falling on a mountain and an avalanche. I was tumbling under the snow with other skiers. And then what happened was on the news the day after my dream, there was a major avalanche in the Alps in Italy. And several of the skiers were buried under the avalanche. And then I began to have other dreams like plane crashes or 9/11 with the trade towers on fire, shaking 6 months before the trade towers are struck by airplanes. So more and more I get to realize that when you do Jungian dream analysis, I would say if I had a Jungian dream analysis person in my life, I'd be saying, well, I can't really tell. It could be a prophecy, not just aspects of my psyche. So I wanted to say, just the other day, I had this dream and it was about my daughter and it involved the word roof, something that's happening on the roof in the dream. It was very specific to rooftop calamities, right? And then I thought it was maybe a metaphor for a part of myself. And then I actually told her partner, her and maybe her partner, I had this dream. It made me worry about my daughter. And then lo and behold, the thing I dreamt about happened later the day after. So I woke up in the morning, talked to my daughter's partner in midday or whatever. I said, oh, I hope it's not about my daughter because I had this dream. Oh, no, everything's fine. And then by the time we got to the evening, the dream came true. And so it's not a special gift. It's not like I am special. Everyone can dream prophetically. You have to start to remember your dreams, number one. That's for sure. And, if you have a natal chart with like a moon Neptune contact, moon trine Neptune, moon conjunct Neptune, moon sextile, you're at ease with your intuition. If you have an opposition between the moon and Neptune or a square, you're not at ease with it, but you got it in steroids. Okay. And the thing with that energy with Mercury as well, Mercury, Neptune can indicate a capacity for the mind to breach for the perceptual apparatus of the mind to breach the realms of this world. The moon is more just basically the scryer, the diviner, the intuitive quality of life, whereas the energy of all your clairs are lunar to me, clairaudient, clairsentient, clairvoyant, including dream prophecies. But I do find, especially because we dream at night when the moon is out, but I find that Mercury, Neptune people, they're really on their A game when it comes to, I talk to dead people. I channel Archangel Michael. I'm able to, perceive other realms. I see ghosts, that kind of thing. And a lot of those Mercury, Neptune contacts, conjunct, square, opposite, you're not so sure about it. A trine or sextile, you got it and you're using it. Okay. So those are some tips for you. And maybe I can get my sister to call this something like outro, how to use your signs in your chart of psychic ability or something like that. All right, guys, thanks for listening. Don't forget, liking and subscribing helps the channel grow. My growth is slowing in the last 2 months. My partner says stop talking about world events from a kind of bias in which I call out what I see, especially the real reasons that wars happen and the nefarious nature of leaders and money. I don't think that's the problem. I think it's the summer. But if you don't mind, I usually get 3,000 or 4,000 subscribers a month. And I think I'm going to I had 2,000 and something last month, and I'd be lucky to get there this month. So give me a hand, like, subscribe, and check that you're still subscribed because I'm not the only channel. We're all talking about YouTube dumping subs for a lot of the bigger channels. And maybe that's something that is going on. And you might want to check to see if you thought you were subscribed, come on back if you've been unsubscribed by the algorithm or YouTube's scrub bots or whatever they're called. Thank you. I'll see you guys in the next video. When is this video coming out? This video may be coming out on Thursday, June the 19th. And therefore, Sunday is my all signs video drop. So stay tuned for that as well. Ciao, ciao.